It was raining the day I finally hit my lowest point. I remember stepping up to the shop door and feeling the weight of every droplet pounding on the pavement. Inside, my bakery was silent. The oven's cold. The display case empty. 3 months earlier, I'd never have imagined returning to the scene. Back then, the morning air smelled of fresh bread and my laughter echoed around the countertops. But now I sat in a folding chair behind the counter, casted wrist resting on my lap, staring at a framed photo of me smiling, surrounded by freshly baked loaves. I trace my fingers along the glass, where the words La Petite Boulangerie are etched. Memories flood back, pre-dawn alarms, flour-dusted mornings kneading dough until my hands ached, customers lining up at dawn, hungry for my croissants and sourdough. This place was my identity, my pride, my everything, and in an instant, it felt like sand slipping through my fingers. It all started with a routine delivery. I bent down to pick up a heavy bag of flour, slipped on a damp spot in the kitchen, and felt a sharp crack. Pain shot up my arm like lightning, and I collapsed, hearing the rhythmic thud of my wrist against the tile floor. The world spun as I clenched my teeth, praying it was just a sprain. But when the X-ray revealed my radius shattered, I knew life had changed forever. Now rain taps against the window as I ask myself, what if I never need dough again? What if my dream crumbles like stale bread? My heart pounds, resentment and fear swirling together. I close my eyes and let the melancholy piano chords fill the space, imagining my bakery shuttered, the ovens dark, and the community I've built dispersed. I lean forward, head in my remaining hand, and take a slow breath. The thunder rumbles once more, and I wonder, if adversity is this fierce, how can I stand against it? How can I rebuild what's fallen? Tonight, I'll find out. Facing the shattered dream the next morning, I find myself under the fluorescent lights of the clinic, arms bruised, eyes red from sleepless nights. The doctor's office smells of antiseptic and hushed concern. He shows me the X-ray, 2 jagged lines crossing the bone. My dominant wrist is in pieces. I feel my stomach drop. Surgery will fix the bone, but full mobility could take months, he says, his voice calm but distant. In that moment, time slows. I taste copper on my tongue. I imagine the weeks ahead, physical therapy sessions in a sterile gym, ice packs pressed against swollen flesh, the excruciating stiffness when I try to flex my wrist. All of it feels impossible. Every knead, every fold, every push and pull of dough relies on the hands I once took for granted. For a baker, hands are everything. Without them, I'm as good as a pastry without sugar. Tears threaten to spill, but I force them back. I sit up straight, trying to channel some semblance of resolve. So what do I do now? I ask. The doctor shrugs sympathetically. Rest, physical therapy, and wait. We'll see how you recover. The words hang in the air like a storm cloud. No guarantee. No promise. After leaving the clinic, I walk through the rain-soaked streets to the bus stop. My cast feels like a lead weight. With each step, my mind churns. How will I pay rent? How will I cover medical bills? What about my employees? The questions spin like the washer in the corner of my eye. I clutch my cast and wonder if I made a terrible mistake dedicating my life to baking, if all I had built would vanish like steam. When I finally reach home, I sit at the kitchen table, the X-ray taped to the refrigerator. I stare at it, tracing the fracture lines with my finger. My heart pounds. The stake is clear. My dream survival rests on rebuilding not just bone, but confidence. I close my eyes and decide, I refuse to let this beat me. Tomorrow, I will choose to fight. Choosing to fight back home, the cast feels suffocating. Every morning, I take it off to wash the other hand, wincing as I feel the stiffness creeping in. My evenings are spent scrolling through my bakery's social media. There, lined up in chronological order, are messages from customers. Get well soon, Sarah. I miss my Saturday cinnamon rolls. Bring back the baguettes. Each comment is a spark, tiny flames of hope. I remember the day I posted a simple status update. Wrist break means no baking for a while. We'll miss you all. Instantly, the notifications blew up. Friends offering help, strangers sharing stories of their own recoveries, and loyal customers sending virtual hugs. It hits me, I'm not in this battle alone. I roll up the sleeve of my uninjured arm, pick up a notebook, and start brainstorming. What if I adapt my process? What if I outsource kneading? What if I shift my role from baker to coach, guiding others to bake under my direction? Ideas flood my mind. Pre-measured ingredients, no-knead bread recipes, ordering adaptive tools. I scribble furiously, the pen flying across the pages. For the first time in days, I feel electricity in my veins. Yet, hope alone won't build a bakery. I still face surgery next week, then months of physical therapy. But the seed is planted. I will fight. With every ounce of willpower, I decide to turn this setback into an opportunity. I let out a long breath, straightening my back. I can do this, I whisper. And in that moment, I feel resilience coursing through me like warm dough rising. Tomorrow, I'll begin the first step. Small victories, day 1 post-surgery. My wrist is swollen, wrapped in bandages. Pain pulses every time I shift. The nurse hands me a packet of exercises, tiny wrist flexes, supination and pronation, gentle squeezes. Do these twice a day, she says. I lie back on the couch, cast propped on a cushion, and stare at the guide. My other hand hovers over the exercises list, trembling. To keep my bakery alive, I start ordering pre-measured ingredients online: flour, yeast, sugar, everything portioned into sealed bags. I call my friend and fellow baker, Maria, and ask if she'll handle the kneading. She agrees without hesitation. Within days, I have a makeshift assembly line. I measure and oversee. Maria kneads and shapes. Another friend handles the oven. Every small loaf that emerges feels like a medal, a symbol of progress. In the mornings, I sit on the counter with my cast resting on a stool, narrating each step for Maria. We knead the dough at medium hydration, so add water in small increments. Watch the gluten window before adding more flour. Maria listens intently, replicating my technique. It's strange, me relying on someone else's hands to bring my vision to life, but it works. By day 10, I managed to spread a little bit of dough onto a proofing basket using my uninjured hand and a spoon. My cast hangs heavy, but I feel a surge of pride as I watch that dough rise. The oven timer dings, and I hear the soft crackle as crust forms. I limp toward the oven, lean down, and inhale the aroma. Golden, warm, perfect. Tears well up. This is a small victory, but it's mine. Each day, I push a bit further. I practice gentle wrist rotations during idle moments while stirring coffee or folding laundry. I journal my pain levels, my wins, my doubts. Threads of progress weave through the days. Some mornings, I wake stiff and frustrated. Other afternoons, I taste crumb from a freshly baked loaf and am reminded why I fight. The path is steep, but I'm climbing. When doubt creeps in, it was exactly 3 weeks after my surgery when disaster struck again. I woke before dawn to check on a batch of sourdough starters I'd been feeding daily. Outside, the world was dark and silent, save for the humming streetlights. I put on my robe and slippers and tiptoed toward the kitchen. As I turned the corner, I slipped on a wet patch of spilled water, left over from my attempt to keep the floors clean, and tumbled. I felt a searing pain in my free wrist as I hit the tile floor. Now, lying in bed, a second brace clamps around my other wrist. 2 broken wrists. The pain is overwhelming, but the emotional toll is heavier. I grip the bedsheets, tears blurring my vision. I replay the fall over and over. How could I be so careless? Why did I rush? A heavy sense of dread sinks into my bones. In the coming days, I fall into a haze of doctor visits and swollen limbs. I can barely lift my head without wincing. Sleep evades me. Every night, I lie awake listening to the echo of the dripping faucet in the hallway, the sound like an accusation. You failed. I scroll through social media, but the comments on my bakehouse page now consist of worried well-wishers and news articles about shuttered small businesses. My bakery still hangs in limbo. At one point, I pick up my phone to call Maria, tell her to close shop for good. But I hesitate. I swipe through photos of smiling customers, of children devouring pastries, of my own grin as I pulled bread from the oven. Something inside me tightens. If I give up now, everything I've worked for evaporates. One afternoon, I climb out of bed, bracing my body against the ache. I shamble to the kitchen table, where a stack of bills awaits: rent, utilities, ingredient invoices. The numbers glare at me like predators. On the wall, I've hung a handwritten note: fight for every crumb of hope. I stare at it, blinking back tears. For the first time since my second injury, I feel a spark, tiny but burning. I straighten in my chair, steel filling my chest. I may be broken again, but if I stop now, my bakery dies. And if the bakery dies, a piece of me dies too. I press my good hand against the table and stand. No, I whisper. Not yet. In that moment, doubt creeps in like poison, but I refuse its invitation. I will push forward, even if every step feels impossible. Both wrists compromised, my bakery's future hangs by a thread. Each day, I calculate the dwindling funds: rent due in 7 days, utility bills piling up, ingredient suppliers demanding payment. I sit at my kitchen table, bills and invoices spread out before me like an insurmountable mountain. The countdown timer on my phone ticks down: 7 days until eviction notice. I close my eyes and envision the bakery shuttered, the sign swinging in the cold wind, display cases gathering dust, loyal customers turning to other shops. My heart clenches. This bakery is more than a storefront. It's a community hub. I recall elderly Mr. Thompson, who waited for my rye bread every Wednesday, and young couples who celebrated anniversaries with my eclairs. If I fail, they lose as well. Beyond finances, there's reputation. I've built my name through word of mouth, neighbors recommending me to newcomers, food bloggers praising my crusty baguettes. The thought that my name might fade to obscurity gnaws at me. If my bakery closes, will people remember the taste of my bread? Or will I become just another cautionary tale? Desperation drives me to research grants for disabled entrepreneurs. I spend hours filling out online forms, describing my injury, my business plan for adaptive equipment, my vision of a community-based bakery that hires people overcoming their own struggles. I write feverishly, proofread late into the night, and submit before dawn. I also launch a crowdfunding campaign. I share a heartfelt post on social media, photos of my broken wrists, a video clip of the empty bakery, and a plea for help. I explain how every dollar will go toward equipment that allows me to bake again. As I hit post, my stomach churns. I feel exposed, vulnerable. Each day, I check the campaign's progress, meager donations at first. But then, comments roll in: keep fighting. We believe in you. Sending $5. My eyes blur with tears as I watch the counter tick up. It's not enough yet, but it's something. A reminder that I'm not alone. With each bill I pay from my savings, I grit my teeth and refocus on my plan. Adaptive dose sheeters, adjustable tables, wrist support gloves. Everything costs money, but each purchase inches me closer to revival. I remind myself, if I can secure the funds, rebuild my physical capability, and reestablish my brand, I'll prove that adversity can be conquered. The stakes are higher than ever, but so is my resolve. The No Hands Bake Sale 9 days after my second injury, I make a decision that feels equal parts crazy and necessary. Host a No Hands Bake Sale. I send out flyers to my neighborhood, hand-drawn posters taped to utility poles, local Facebook group announcements, Instagram stories. The concept is simple but powerful. Community members knead dough and shape loaves under my supervision, and all proceeds go toward funding my adaptive equipment. On the morning of the sale, I wake before sunrise. My wrists ache so badly I can barely roll out of bed. The wisteria vine outside creeps along the fence, its purple blossoms drooping in the early morning light. I wrap my wrists in braces, one heavy, one lighter, and slip on an apron. In my remaining strength, I limp out the door and prop it open, revealing tables laden with flour and mixing bowls. Volunteers begin arriving. Maria with her ready smile, a high school student named Lily who wants to be a pastry chef, a retired carpenter named Sam who offers to build custom supports. Strangers trickle in too, neighbors who've followed my story. Each person introduces themselves. I'm John. I live 2 streets over and can't wait to help. I'm Priya. I love your croissants. I feel a flicker of gratitude mingle with nerves. I stand in the center, unsteady on my feet. My voice trembles as I address the small crowd. Thank you all for coming. I can't knead dough with my wrists right now, but I still know how to guide you. Today, we bake together and prove that a community can lift each other up. The volunteers nod, some eyes glistening. We divide into stations, one for mixing, one for kneading, one for shaping. I call out instructions. Use the heel of your hand. Fold the dough over. Give it a quarter turn. My casted wrists throb, but I push through the pain. As hands collide with flour and water, a transformation happens. Laughter bubbles up when someone ends up with dough on their nose. Conversations spark, stories of personal struggles, hopes for the future. 2 hours in, the ovens hum as loaves bake. The aroma of fresh bread drifts through the street. Customers line up, families with young children, elderly couples, curious passers-by. They hand over cash, exchange smiles with volunteers, and grab warm loaves wrapped in paper bags. With every sale, the fundraiser meter inches upward. I stand back, leaning on a folding chair as the final dozen loaves emerge. I taste one warm, crusty, perfect, and tears prick my eyes. This isn't just bread. It's a symbol of shared resilience. A young woman named Maria hands me a glass jar filled with bills and coins. It's over $2,000, she says. My heart races. I look out at the smiling faces, friends and strangers who believed in me. In that moment, I realize adversity didn't break me. It revealed the strength of community, creativity, and unwavering hope. The sun breaks through the clouds, casting a golden glow over the bake sale. I smile, realizing this is the turning point. 2 weeks after the bake sale, the funds have arrived, and with them, a chance to rebuild. I stand in my empty bakery, envisioning the layout. We've purchased a low-profile dough sheeter that I can operate with my uninjured hand and elbow support. Adjustable height. Tables replace standard countertops so I can knead without twisting my wrist. Specialized wrist support gloves arrive too, promising extra stability. Reopening day approaches, and I spend every waking moment preparing. I install the new equipment, unpack boxes, and sweep flour from the floor. My wrists ache, reminders of everything I've endured, but I smile as I place a fresh loaf into the display case. Each loaf is a testament to months of struggle, planning, and community support. On opening morning, I unclench my hands and steady myself at the counter. The doors swing open at 8 a.m., and a small line has already formed. Maria hands me a notepad. I greet each customer by name, taking orders for sourdough, brioche, and baguettes. I guide volunteers through the new process. Put the dough here, guide it under the roller with your forearm, then shape it gently. The adaptive sheeter hums and loaves glide through, perfectly flattened. Throughout the day, I watch as people take bites of my bread and smile. A young mother says, "We missed you so much." An elderly man leans forward and whispers, "Your bakery gave me hope when I was ill. I'm so glad you're back." Each comment fills my chest with warmth. In the afternoons, I host small workshops in the back room, baking with one hand, adaptive techniques. I demonstrate how to use the specialized tools and share stories of my recovery. People take notes, nodding, inspired to tackle their own challenges. It's more than a bakery now, it's a center for resilience. By day's end, I lock up, leaning heavily on the counter as exhaustion washes over me. My wrists feel raw, but my spirit soars. I stack chairs, wipe surfaces, and prepare a small speech for tomorrow's grand reopening announcement on social media. That evening, as I lie in bed, I reflect. I've rebuilt not just a business, but a purpose. I've transformed my pain into passion, my setback into a chance to help others. Tomorrow, I'll wake before dawn, as I always have, and knead dough once more, this time guided by the knowledge that even broken hands can shape beauty. In the weeks that follow, my bakery flourishes in ways I never imagined. I start each day at 5 a.m., mixing dough, checking ovens, and greeting early customers. The new adaptive equipment hums efficiently, and I've regained most of my wrist mobility. But the greatest change isn't physical, it's in my mindset. I've learned that setbacks can be stepping stones. Every challenge revealed an opportunity to innovate, to rely on community, and to uncover strengths I never knew I had. I hold workshops every Saturday where I share my story, the accident, the second injury, the bake sale that saved us, and the adaptive tools that rebuild us. People come from neighboring towns, curious to learn. Some are entrepreneurs seeking advice, others are individuals battling their own physical limitations. Each session ends with applause and sometimes tears. I also work with local schools, partnering with vocational programs to teach students about small business resilience and adaptability. I mentor a shy teenager who dreams of opening a cafe. We bake together, side by side. I watch as she lights up when her first loaf comes out of the oven. Every month, I donate a portion of profits to a community fund that supports people facing medical emergencies. It's my way of paying forward the kindness I received. I still remember the day Mr. Lopez from down the street slipped an envelope under my door, $1.50 to help buy groceries. That gesture sparked a ripple that led to everything we have now. On slow afternoons, I sit at a stool behind the counter, watching customers come and go. I see familiar faces, Mr. Thompson picking up his rye, Lily the high school student now working as my assistant, Sam the retired carpenter stopping by to say hello. I glance at the wall where I've pinned that old X-ray beside a photo from the bake sale, and below a simple plaque, "Forge your resilience." I take a deep breath and let the gentle hum of the ovens wash over me. I knead a soft ball of dough with my hands, both wrists steady. I think back to the rain-soaked day I hit rock bottom and marvel at how far I've come. If you're facing your own trials, whether a broken wrist, a shattered dream, or an unexpected setback, know this: adversity isn't the end. It's a forge that tempers your spirit. Keep moving forward, one small step at a time. Because sometimes, the greatest triumph is simply refusing to give up.